Hello and welcome to today's Confessions of a Yarn Addict. My name is Anniken and this is episode 63. Welcome to today's video. So this is a episode of Confessions of a Yarn Addict, which is my regular podcast. In this episode I'm going to share a lot about our recent trip to Scotland, what's on my needles, and I've got a half-finished project and what's coming up, and a little bit of my plans ahead for Vlogmas, which is kicking off next week. I'll tell you what I'm wearing in a minute, but first we'll get all the formalities over with. So I post regular videos here on YouTube every Thursday, and I'm trying to do every other Tuesday. I do a combination of my Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast episodes, knit and chat videos where I chat about one or more topics while I knit or crochet, and tutorials. If you have any requests for tutorials, please leave them below. Recently I posted two brioche tutorials. One was kind of like a how to knit brioche tutorial, and one was how to knit brioche in the round. I will have another tutorial coming up hopefully in December on some fixing some easy common mistakes in brioche. I haven't filmed that yet, so hoping to film it next week. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you have any comments, then please leave a comment below. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see from me in the future, in 2023, then please leave a comment below. And especially for tutorials and topics you'd like me to talk about, please leave that below and I'll add that to my list for 2023. This week is mostly going to be about our recent trip to Scotland. I'm going to show you some beautiful scenery from Scotland. We only came back yesterday. Today's Wednesday, 23rd of November, I think. I think this is going to go out Tuesday next week, so near about 6 days after I filmed this. But I have a bit of time this afternoon. I am quite tired, so I don't really want to do too much work this afternoon, and I could just take some time off and knit because I kind of deserve it. But I thought if I record a video, at least that's one thing that's out of the way. So on other days when I'm feeling a bit more energetic, I can do some actual pattern writing and things. So I'm going to share with you quite a bit from our holiday in Scotland. So we came back yesterday. We drove all the way back from Edinburgh yesterday, and I live in Cornwall, which is in the far southwest of England, and Edinburgh is in the south east of Scotland. And I can't remember how long it took us. I think probably about 10 hours. I can't remember what time we left. We got home, I think we got home about 8. I think it was about 8 o'clock in the evening. I can't remember when we left. I think it was probably around 10. We didn't leave that early. So 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's, yeah, so probably about 10 hours is a long drive. On the way up, we actually went 10 days ago, 11 days ago. We went to this, drove up to Scotland. We broke the trip halfway. We stopped in Lancashire to see some friends on the way up and went out for a meal with them, which was really nice. And then we stayed in a hotel nearby, and then we drove the rest of the way second day. Because we actually drove all the way up to the north of Scotland in the Highlands, on the north coast of the Moray coast near Elgin, where we have family, and we stayed with my sister-in-law and her husband for a few days. And then we drove down to the west coast of Scotland, past Loch Ness, to a lovely place called Glencoe, where my nephew got married, and we spent 2 nights there. Day we arrived was awful. It was raining all day. The day of the wedding was beautiful. And that was really lovely. We saw a deer. There was deer right outside the hotel, so it was really amazing. I got some pictures of the deer, but I didn't take any video. And then on Sunday. We had breakfast at the hotel and then stayed in a really awful hotel. The hotel where the wedding was held was amazing, but it was also quite expensive, so we chose to stay nearby in a village about half an hour away, and we stayed in a really, really awful hotel. Yeah, just let's say that photos on hotel websites don't show the real truth. This was just awful. But it was only for 2 nights and we weren't there very much. And we left there after breakfast on Sunday and drove to Edinburgh. We had planned to do the scenic route through the Loch Lomond National Park down to Glasgow and then across to Edinburgh. And we drove through a little bit of Loch Lomond National Park, but we actually want to drive along Loch Lomond, which is a lake. For those who are not in the UK, loch, as far as I understand, means lake in Scottish. So we were going to drive past Loch Lomond, but I think we had problems with the sat-nav when we left the hotel. It kept losing location and things. So I wonder whether the sat-nav reset itself somehow, and we ended up doing the shorter route to... We were going to do the long scenic route to Edinburgh. We ended up doing the shorter route. So we got there about an hour earlier than we'd planned to, which was fine. By the time I realised the sat-nav was taking us the wrong, well, it wasn't the wrong way, it was the quickest way, but it wasn't the play we'd planned. By the time I realised that, we were already at Stirling, so it was a bit too late then to re-navigate and go back again. So we got to Edinburgh, we went to see the Royal Yacht Britannia, and I have a video of that. I did quite a bit of video when we walked around the Royal Yacht Britannia, and I'll show that at the end because it's about 2.5 minutes and it might not be everyone's taste. So I'll leave that to the end. And then we also had a day on Monday in Edinburgh. I didn't look for any yarn shops in Edinburgh because we only had one day, so we mainly did sightseeing. Simon and I have both been to Edinburgh separately, but we haven't been together. And then I'm also going to show you some knitting, what I've been knitting, some stuff coming up, and a parcel that arrived today. So I'll show you that as well. But first, let me show you what I'm wearing. So this is hand knitted by me and it's a magazine design, and it just came back. It was actually waiting for us when we got home, which I was really excited about. It's a dolman top from Simply Knitting, issue 228, which was published in the summer, I think. I can't remember now, but it feels like ages ago. And I was hoping this top would come back in time for next summer so I could wear it, because it is knitted in 100% cotton. And it came back while we were away, so I'm really excited. So let me stand up. Most the stuff I design for magazines is knitted in a size 10, which is about half the size I am. so it doesn't fit me. So I've got all these sweaters that I can't wear, and I don't have time to knit for myself very often. That is one of my plans next year, is to actually knit more sweaters for myself, because I think I deserve that. So, but this is in my size. I like the colour. If I was going to choose colour, probably wouldn't have gone for this, but it's like a peachy pink colour and I quite like it. It goes with a lot of my stuff. So I put it on for this video. I am going to make some alterations to it and I'll tell you about those in a minute, but let me stand up first. Okay, it's not very easy to see. Hang on, I can't get any further back. And maybe I'll... There we go. So it comes down to my waist. It's quite wide. And it has this lace panel on the sides, and on the sleeves it's a dolman style, so it's knitted straight up to the underarms, and then you add stitches for the sleeves, and then you knit it to the top, and then there's a garter stitch band on the sleeves. So I would like this to be a little bit longer. It's about waist length, and I think I will probably get more wear out of it if I make it a bit longer. This would look really good with like dresses and things. So if you wear all the dresses, I think this would be the perfect length. And I'm actually thinking about wearing it for my workshop tomorrow. I have a black dress which I think this would look really good with, so I might wear it for my workshop tomorrow or my workshop on Saturday, we'll see. But I'm going to make it a bit longer, so I'm going to make the sleeves a bit longer. The sleeves are actually okay. I think I'm going to make the sleeves a bit longer, just add some garter stitch to the sleeves to make them a bit longer. And then I don't know what to do about the body. It's knitted from the bottom up, so there's a couple of different ways I could add length to it. I'm actually thinking about doing a separate video on that, so I'm not going to talk about it now. I was going to, but I won't. I'll leave that for a separate video and I'll show you what I do. Might get around to doing it before Christmas. Don't think I've got any deadlines. One deadline in December, once that's done. Last couple of weeks before Christmas aren't very busy, so I might get it done in December, but I will share all that in a separate video. Another thing, a couple of samples came back from a magazine today. One of them I can't show you because the magazine's not out till next week, I think, but this one came back as well. This was in Knitting Magazine, issue 237. I don't know what I'm looking at my computer for because it's not on there, but I think it's issue 237. I don't have the magazine here. I think it's actually in my bag, so I took it away with me to read, but it's got, this is beads up here. The beads, I deliberately chose like a teal colour to try and make them stand out a bit more, but it's got beads across the yoke. I love this sweater. I love this colour. This colour is quite on trend for this winter, and it also looks going into next spring, and I really love this colour, and I wish this sweater fitted me. It's knitted in sheepies. I know most people pronounce it sheepies. I don't think that's correct. I think it's something like sheepies or something similar. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but let's say sheepies because that's what most people call it in the UK. Merino Soft, I think it is. And I really like it. It's a nice yarn. I've done 2 designs in this yarn. I don't think the other one's out yet. And I think this is the first one I did in this yarn. It was knitted by my lovely sample knitter, Liz, who did a fantastic job as usual. And yeah, I really like it. On the back it's just plain stocking stitch. So it's mostly stocking stitch. It's got drop shoulders. I think the sleeves were, yes, the sleeves were picked. Stitches for the sleeves were picked up and then they were knitted from the top down, so it's easier to adjust the length. It was knitted in the round to the underarms, so there's no side seams. So it's a very simple sweater, but the beads add a little bit of fun to it. You don't have to do beads if you don't want to. Beads are either used in crochet hook method, and I have a tutorial for that on my website. Yeah, I really like that. Black came back together with another sample which will be out in the next issue of Knitting Magazine, issue 238, which I'll tell you about when it's out because it's not out for another week, and so I can't share that yet, but I will probably do a separate video on that design when the magazine comes out. So on the drive up to Scotland, we stopped off in the Highlands. We drove across the Highlands. We drove up on the A9, I think it is, as far as Aviemore, and then we turned across country towards Elgin. Quite a scenic route. We got there a little bit late in the day. We probably should have planned ahead a bit and left the hotel a bit earlier, set our alarm a bit earlier. But we didn't because we were tired. We've been out with some friends the night before, so we got there a little bit late, and we stopped at this place called Lochindorp, which is a beautiful place. It's got a castle in the middle of the loch. It's quite a small loch, but it has this castle in the middle of the loch. And we took some photos. We got there at sunset, so we got some quite nice photos. And I also just filmed a little bit of a Instagram reel, wearing my delightful brioche cow. So I'll add that after the video. The reel is in portrait, but hopefully that'll be okay. But I'll add that. I think I'd put it on my YouTube as well, so you've probably already seen it if you're a regular here. But yes, I will add. I warmed the delightful cow a lot in Scotland. I took both the cows with me. I knitted them in two versions, two different colorways, and I took both with me, and I wore them a lot because it was very, very cold in Scotland while we were there. One of the highlights of the trip for me, apart from my nephew's wedding, of course, which was the absolute highlight, and also the day in Edinburgh was really, really good. But the other highlight for me was a visit to a place called Johnston's in Elgin. So Johnston in Elgin is a company that produce cashmere and merino yarns. So they import cashmere from Mongolia, and they import merino from New Zealand and Australia, and they spin it, and then they weave it into fabrics, and they also knit it into various items. So their place in Elgin, I think that was the original place where they started, and it's only been owned by two families apparently. But we went there to have a look around. We got there sort of middle of the afternoon, and we managed to go on a tour. There was only 3 of us on the tour, so we got quite a personalised tour really, and it was really interesting. Now the tour included, they talked you through, and they took you through sort of like the sorting of the fibre. They showed us some unprocessed cashmere fibre, and we got to touch it. Well, I've spun with cashmere, so I know what cashmere fibre feels like. They took us all through where they're scouring and processing the fibre, the dye shed, how it's spun, and all that kind of stuff, and then through the workshop where they weave it into fabric. Now they do a lot of designs for big designer names like Louis Vuitton, Burberry. Trying to remember what else she said. We saw some Louis Vuitton fabric there, and Burberry. I think they also said Gucci. I mean, loads of these huge designer names. We saw quite a lot of woven fabric there for Burberry, and we saw this amazing fabric coming off a loom, and that was for Louis Vuitton baby blankets. That would be probably at least £1,000 each. Now, who would spend £1,000 on a baby blanket? I have no idea, but it was absolutely amazing. And I did take some footage. We weren't allowed to film the area where they actually showed us the woven fabrics for these various designer labels, because that's all confidential. So we weren't allowed to film that. But they had these piles of fabric on the floor. So they got a concrete floor. I think there was some kind of covering down, but they got these like piles of fabric that had come off the looms, and they're waiting for like finishing. They weave them in like quite wide piece of fabric, and then if it's going to be a scarf, for example, it has sections where they cut it, so you may get like 4 or 5 scarves in the width of the woven fabric. So that was really interesting. But you just saw these piles and piles and piles of designer fabric lying on this floor, which is just amazing, because these scarves and things are going to be like hundreds of pounds, if not £1,000 when they're in the shop. So it's just amazing to see that lying on the floor. They also have a mill further south in Scotland where they do all their knitting stuff, their machine knitted stuff. So we didn't see any of that, unfortunately. They also produce their own stuff, and they have their own factory shop or shop on the site where they sold scarves, garments. They had some cashmere suits, which felt incredibly soft but going to be incredibly hot, and it was just amazing. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Nothing in the shop was in our price range, so we didn't buy anything. One thing I asked, which the lady didn't really answer, was why is Scotland so known for cashmere? If you go to Edinburgh on the Royal Mile, every other shop seems to be a shop that sells cashmere scarves or cashmere stuff that's spun and woven or whatever in Scotland. And I don't quite understand why Scotland is so known for cashmere, but that seems to be one of their main exports for tourists. And I didn't really get an answer to that, because the cashmere's imported. Johnson imports them from Mongolia. So if anyone knows why Scotland is so known for cashmere, let me know. But yeah, it was a really good place. If you're in Elgin, I highly recommend you visit, and I'll show you a little video clip from there now. So let me show you what I've been knitting. So I mostly knitted on my brioche project, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I also knitted on my socks. So when I left for Scotland, I think I'd got to about there on my socks. I finished most of the first sock. This is Opal. It has an afterthought heel, so I got the waist yarn in for the afterthought heel. My waist yarn is yellow, so you can't really see it that clearly because there's a lot of yellow in this yarn. I think I got it's knitted toe up, by the way, using my Aventuras pattern, but I got to there before we left for Scotland, and then I knitted from there up. Mostly I did a little bit in the car when we were driving from Elgin area to Glencoe. I didn't knit for most of it. I knitted a little bit. It's quite windy roads because we went the scenic route, and then so I managed to finish the first sock. I haven't done the heel. I decided to leave the heel, and then I cast them for the second sock just so I could put that in my bag on the day we were in Edinburgh in case I got any chance to knit anything. I did knit, so I cast them for the toe for the second sock, and I got about half of this done, then I knitted the other half when we're in a pub having lunch and a bit of a break on Monday, and then I haven't done anything else. I haven't finished the toe yet, so this will go back to living in my handbag, and I'll knit a bit on it as and when I get a chance. I might actually, any of you remember a few months ago when I lost one of my socks in progress? So I think I'm going to put that in the project bag so I don't lose it. This was a bag, it's not actually a project bag, it's a cosmetics bag. I bought a product from Origins in Spain when I was there in October, I think, yeah, October. I bought some what's it called, tinted moisturizer, because I used that instead of foundation and I'd run out, so I bought one when I was there, and the lady who served me gave me this bag plus I think it was 3 small sample products, mini sizes. So and I thought, because this is see-through, I thought it was quite good for putting my socks in, and it's a perfect size for a sock. So I knitted that, and that will just live in my bag now, and I don't think I will get it done. I'd like to try and get it done before the end of this year, but it's not a priority. The other thing I knitted on quite a lot was my brush project. Now, a little bit of a word of warning. This is actually knitted using the 12-day advent calendar from Spectrum Fibre. So if you are getting the 12-day advent calendar from Spectrum Fibre, which arrived early November or something like that, if you don't want to see this because you've got one of the advent calendars, then look away now and come back in a couple of minutes. Because I'm going to show it. I had hoped to finish this while we're away. I would like to release it by the 1st of December, which is not going to happen because I haven't finished it yet. I have, so there are 12 colours in total, 12 20 grams. I'm only using 10 20 grams because 2 of the colours, day 2 and 3, I wasn't that keen on, so I took those out. I used day 2 for my swatch, and then day 3 has gone into my crochet scrappy blanket. So I'm only using 10 colours. I have 3 colours left. Right, so I have 3 colours I'm using, and I'm just started just on a few rows on one colour number. So I've got 3 full skeins left, 3 20 grams left, plus most of a 4th one. So I've got nearly 4 20 grams, that's 80 grams left. So I've got quite a lot left in it. I'm teaching tomorrow and I'm teaching on Saturday, so I won't get a lot of knitting done on those days. It's Wednesday today. I would like to finish this by Sunday so I can block it, finish a pattern on Monday and get it off to my tech editor. I might actually, if I get time on Friday, finish as much of the pattern as I can and send it to her on Friday. Depends on how I'm doing. If I think I can finish this over the weekend, I might wait till Monday. But it's not going to be released by December the 1st because that's next week, but hopefully maybe the week after, we'll see. I knew that it would be a bit of a tall order to get it done, but it is an advent project. And I don't think a lot of people actually start their advent calendar straight away anyway, so that's fine. And you don't have to use an advent, you can just use solid yarn or mini skeins or anything like that. But let me show it to you, so if you don't want to see it, look away now. So that's how it starts. So that's day 1. Then I skip day 2 and 3, so day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7 is that bright pink, day 8, and I'm on day 9 now. Then I got day 10, 11 and 12. I love all the colours. I must admit that bright pink, even though I love it, it does feel a little bit bright compared to the rest of it. It does kind of feel like it sticks out a bit. I love it, I absolutely love it, but it is quite bright compared to the other colours. But yeah, the others kind of blend in a bit more, I think, but that one sticks out a bit more. But I left it in anyway. The colour I'm knitting with now is that colour, and the next colour is going to be that colour. Another quite big kind of colour change. Not very subtle, I don't think, but on the whole I love these colours. The grey is Lang Merino 200, which I'm just using as a contrast, so it's going to be quite big. At the moment when I knit on it, I can kind of cover my legs with it, which is quite nice because it was really cold in Scotland, so I'm really enjoying it. And after I finish recording this, I was going to edit this today, but I don't think I'm going to because it's nearly 3 o'clock, so I think I'm going to finish this, go downstairs and do some knitting for the rest of the day. Okay, so if you were looking away because you wanted to miss the Spectrum Fibre advent calendar, you can look back now. So I've got another thing to show you, which came today. Let me turn it around so I don't show you my address. So I haven't even opened it yet. This actually was delivered. They tried to deliver it while we were away, but we were away, so it got held and then redelivered today. So I'm just going to, I haven't even opened it yet, and it came just before I came upstairs to record this, and it is, I know what it is my advent calendar from Botanical Yarns. So this is how it comes packaged up. So there's no spoilers here, it's just a box basically. So let me just get it out. I pressed my finger on it and I nearly popped the first one open, so it feels really full. So it's like that, that's what it looks like. Number 1 is up there. It's all in order, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotta be a bit careful because I nearly opened that one by mistake. I'm desperate to see what it looks like. It's got a thing on the back here. Oh, I nearly opened another one. If you press on these windows, the doors, they pop open quite easily. So you've got a thing there, so you could actually hang it on the wall, I guess. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I pressed a bit too hard down here and you can see it's nearly popped open. Oh, just seen that come away. Anyway, I'm really excited. I'm going to be good and not open it, although I'm very tempted to have a peek. It feels quite heavy actually. I don't know whether there's any extras in there. In the parcel as well, there's a raffle ticket which always comes with botanical yarn stuff. I think they do a draw once a month. last day of the month, they do a raffle. Sophie does a raffle on Instagram Live. And then there's always a lot of like little flyers. So it's upcoming events. Oh, so the advent calendar actually comes with a pattern from Twin Set and Pearl. They are two lovely ladies who I met when I did Summer Wool Show, I think it was, in the summer. And they were really nice, had a bit of a chat with them. So they are, so this is just the thing about the advent calendar, and just saying that they will email you the pattern from Twin Set and Pearl on the 1st of December. And then there's a Yorkshire Yarn Fest, because Sophie, who runs Botanical Yarns, also organises Yorkshire Yarn Fest. And a business card, which is very pretty. And then there's two little things, which I don't know what are. And I'm going to open them now. So if you've got the Botanical Yarn advent calendar and you don't want to see what it is, then just look away now. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, let's see what the other one is. So oh, nice. Okay, so if you have ordered the advent calendar and you don't want to see what this is, then just look away now. So there is a badge, pin badge, which says Botanical Yarns Advent Calendar 2022, which is really pretty. I don't actually know what to do with all my pin badges. I had a lot of my pin badges pinned onto a couple of project bags, but then the project bags are dirty, so I took them off to wash them, and I just put them all in here, and they're still in here, and I don't really know what to do with them. I did think about maybe getting like a cushion or something to pin them on, but I haven't decided yet. And then it also came with another little surprise. These little, hang on, these little ones, little stitch markers. So that's really sweet. One's got two of them are wooden ones. One's got a flower on it. One has a leaf on it, and then there's like a beaded one. So starting next week on December 1st, it's time for Vlogmas, which happens here on YouTube. It's the idea is, I think, that you do a daily vlog where you get up to in December. I'm not going to do a daily, I'm not going to post a video daily because I don't think I'll have time to do that. I will try and record something every day, or at least most days. At the moment, apart from obviously Christmas, I don't have a lot of Christmassy stuff planned. I saw something today which for a local event, which I thought, oh, that's Christmas, so we can go to that. So I don't have a lot of Christmassy stuff planned yet, but I haven't really thought about Christmas too much yet. I do have, obviously, I got my advent calendar to open every day, so I'll film that. I will talk about my brioche advent shawl. I have some other festive little projects that I'm planning to work on. So we're going to start on December 1st. I'll just do like an introductory video on December 1st where I talk about my plans for Vlogmas. I may have some more specific plans by the time we get to next week. And then I'll probably try and post 3 or 4 videos a week, but we'll see how it goes. That depends on what I'm doing and how much I've actually got to share. I'd like the videos to be a little bit shorter, so like 10 to 20 minutes. Last year my advent plans kind of got ruined a bit, or changed a bit I should say, because of the arrival of the Omicron variant of COVID. I ended up going to Norway 2 weeks before we'd planned to. This year we're not going to Norway, so there won't be any unexpected travel plans this year unless there's any kind of emergency. Then obviously there might be, but my parents are actually coming to us on Christmas, which will be interesting. It's the first time they've been here for Christmas. I'm quite looking forward to that. So yeah, I will talk more about that in the Advent kickoff video on December 1st. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps me a lot. Also helps me a lot if you like this video, if you like it, and if you leave me a comment. Any kind of engagement, interaction with the video really helps me and helps other people see it as well. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave you with a bit of a clip from our visit to the Royal Yacht Britannia, which is was decommissioned in the late 90s, 1997 I think. It's really interesting to go around it. I would say it looks a bit dated, bearing in mind it was decommissioned in the late 90s, but it was built in the 60s or something, I think. Can't remember, but to me it did look a bit dated. Some of the like furnishings and things looked a bit dated, bit 60s, 70s maybe, I don't know. But we really enjoyed looking around it. What surprised me was how small most of the rooms were. Like the bedrooms and things, they weren't that big. This main sitting room wasn't that big. It's a lot smaller than I expected it to be. They said that because they have the Queen and Prince Philip obviously slept in separate bedrooms, as people of their class tend to do, I think. They had a door that you could walk between them. But they had a honeymoon. We only saw 3 bedrooms of the main, like, posh bedrooms. And then we saw a few of the, like, crew bedrooms as well. But we only saw 3 bedrooms. The Queen's bedroom, Prince Philip's bedroom, and the honeymoon suite. And the honeymoon suite apparently is the only bedroom on board that had a double bed. And 3 couples had their honeymoons on that ship. That was Princess Anne and Mark Phillips, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, and Prince Charles, now King Charles, and Diana. And all of those couples ended up divorced. So I don't know what that says for it, but I thought that was quite funny. Anyway, it was really interesting to look around the ship. Really enjoyed it. Or was it Prince? Hang on, was it Prince Anne? Was it Princess Margaret? Princess Anne, or was it Princess Margaret? Maybe it was Princess Margaret who had her honeymoon there. I'm not sure, but whoever it was, they all ended up divorced. So I thought it was quite interesting. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. The clip from from Britannia is about 2.5 minutes long. It's really worth a visit if you're into royal stuff and you're in Edinburgh. The parking at the event where it is at Leith is free, which surprised us. You can also get a bus there from Edinburgh City Centre, and it really is worth the trip out there to see it. We really enjoyed seeing it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, please check the text below this video and find the link to sign up to my newsletter. And you can also find my links to my other social media on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook group. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.